Lennox Lewis might have pulled off something most athletes can only dream of, transforming from an Olympic gold medalist.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is, in the blue corner, Lennox Lewis, Canada.
An undisputed heavyweight champion who defeated every legend of his era, to a man who walked away from hundreds of millions of dollars without a second glance. In this video, we'll take a look at Lennox Lewis's life after his retirement and why it's so different from the tragic stories that usually follow retired champions. Starting from his rise to greatness, the making of a champion. Lennox Lewis's path to greatness began with a mother's desperate decision to give her son a better life. He was born in West Ham, London, to a Jamaican immigrant mother working as a nurse's aide. Lewis showed athletic potential from an early age, but it was his mother's choice to move them to Kitchener, Ontario when he was 12 that would change everything. In Canada, Lewis excelled in multiple sports, but found his true calling in the boxing ring. At 18, he represented his country at the 1984 Olympics and lost in the quarterfinals.
Look at that left, and John Lewis back, and big fight with a flurry and a left.
For most athletes, that would have been the end of the Olympic dream, but for Lewis, it was just the beginning. He stayed amateur for 4 more years with one singular goal, Olympic gold. In 1988, at the Seoul Olympics, Lewis faced the heavily favored American Riddick Bowe in the super heavyweight final. What happened next would show that every sacrifice was worth it. Lewis defeated Bowe, becoming Canada's first boxing gold medalist in 56 years and earning the honor of flag bearer at the closing ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is, in the blue corner, Lennox Lewis, Canada.
The kid from West Ham had conquered the world, but his journey was just getting started. A call loss. Lewis turned professional in 1989, and what followed was pure dominance when 21 consecutive victories established him as a heavyweight force that couldn't be ignored. After knocking out Donovan Riddick in 1992 to become the #1 contender,
Riddick already in trouble and down for the second time in this fight. And here comes Lewis trying to put an early end to this. Opportunism. Big right hands by Lewis. Down goes Riddick again.
Lewis had earned a shot at the champion Riddick Bowe, the same man he'd beaten for Olympic gold. The stage was set for their professional rematch. Bowe refused to fight him. In one of boxing's most infamous moments, Bowe literally threw the WC belt in the trash rather than defend it against Lewis. It was an act of cowardice, and it handed Lewis the WBC heavyweight championship without a fight. Lewis became the first British heavyweight champion of the 20th century, though the circumstances left a bitter taste. He wanted to prove himself, not inherit a discarded title. Then came 1994, and Lennox suffered a shocking and unexpected loss to Oliver McCall that nearly changed everything. Oliver McCall knocked him down with a powerful right hand.
Lewis unbeaten, remember, after 25 fights. Oh, he's got him!
And even though Lennox got back up quickly, the referee stopped the fight and ruled him unfit to continue.
And Lewis staggers, and the referee has decided it's all over. My goodness, what an upset.
Lennox believed the stoppage was unfair and that he could have kept going, but critics wanted a simple explanation for his loss, so they created a story that he had a glass chin, which is a term used for boxers who cannot handle being hit. But Lewis did not give up. Instead, they found Emmanuel Stewart, the legendary trainer who would transform him completely. Under Stewart's guidance, Lewis trained hard and Lewis was ready to reclaim what he'd lost. In 1997, Lewis faced Oliver McCall in the rematch, and what unfolded was one of boxing's strangest nights.
He brings a professional record of 28 victories, 20 by knockout, against 6 losses.
McCall suffered an emotional breakdown mid-fight, crying in the ring as Lewis reclaimed the WBC title.
Come on, take the water. Come here. He doesn't want to fight. Come on, sit down, man, sit down. Oliver, sit down.
Then came the fight that would define everything. It was with Evander Holyfield in March 1999, and Lewis dominated the bout.
And we're underway.
The English fan, they complain about Evander Holyfield getting low.
When the judges' scorecards were read, the result was a draw.
115 to 115, even a draw. The decision is even a draw.
Most observers believed Lewis had won, clearly. The controversy had robbed him of his coronation. 8 months later, there would be no controversy in the November rematch. Lewis won by unanimous decision, leaving no doubt.
All 3 in favor of the winner and the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis.
He held the WBA, WBC, IBF, IBO, and lineal titles. He was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Lewis had become the first British boxer to hold the undisputed heavyweight championship since Bob Fitzsimmons in 1899, over a century of waiting, ended by a kid whose mother had brought him to Canada for a better life. He had achieved a lot, but Lewis wasn't done yet. In 2002, he would face Mike Tyson in a legendary showdown that would earn him millions of dollars and cement his legacy as the last undisputed heavyweight champion the sport has ever seen. The Mike Tyson fight. Before the fight could even happen, the two fighters held a press conference in New York City that quickly fell into complete chaos. Tyson suddenly charged at Lennox. A wild brawl broke out on stage in front of the cameras, and during the chaos, Tyson actually bit Lennox in the leg.
Bit your leg?
Yeah.
You don't still have a scar from it,
Absolutely, dude. I would drop my pants, but we're on TV.
The incident was so shocking that it made global headlines, and many people questioned whether Tyson was mentally stable enough to fight. When they finally met in the ring, Lennox completely dominated Tyson, knocking him out in the 8th round in a clean and powerful performance that proved Lennox was operating at a completely different level than his opponent.
The winner by knockout victory, Lennox.
The fight was so eagerly anticipated by fans all over the world that it generated over $100 million in revenue, making it one of the most profitable nights in the entire history of boxing. But within 2 years of that historic night, Lennox Lewis did something that almost no boxer in history has ever done. He walked away, retiring as an active world champion in 2004, the first to do so in nearly 50 years, and has never once stepped back into the ring since. The strategic exit. Lennox Lewis retired on February 6, 2004, after defeating Vitaly Klitschko in June 2003. The fight ended when Klitschko's cuts were too severe to continue, and Lewis walked away with his WBC title intact and his record standing at 41 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. 38 years old, he had nothing left to prove. He defeated Mike Tyson, avenged his career losses to Oliver McCall, and unified the heavyweight division by beating Evander Holyfield. He was the last undisputed champion the sport had seen, and yet the boxing world did not want him to leave. HBO, the network that had paid him millions to fight, was waiting for him to commit to a Klitschko rematch. Promoters were circling with offers, and fans wanted to see him defend his throne with one of his fans saying, "I was super disappointed when Lennox Lewis had officially retired. I wanted a rematch so bad." But Lewis had watched what happened to the fighters who stayed too long, and he had no interest in becoming like them. Lewis had grown up idolizing Muhammad Ali, watching him fight on television with his mother in their London home, and he had seen what the sport did to Ali when he refused to walk away. Lewis told reporters that he always wanted to retire at the right time, with all his faculties intact, with all his goals accomplished. When he made his retirement official in 2004, he kept his word and he has never fought again. And unlike almost every other heavyweight champion in history, he's never needed to. The decision looked almost reckless at the time because Lewis was still elite and he could have made tens of millions more. But in hindsight, it was the single smartest move of his career, because while fighters like Evander Holyfield continued taking beatings into their late 40s and Mike Tyson declared bankruptcy, despite earning over $400 million in his career, Lewis preserved both his health and his fortune by knowing exactly. Lennox Lewis's net worth sits at $140 million, and the number tells only part of the story. What matters more is how he got there and how he managed to keep it. During his 14-year professional career from 1989 to 2003, Lewis earned hundreds of millions of dollars from purses, pay-per-view bonuses, and endorsement deals. His fight with Mike Tyson alone netted him millions of dollars when purses, pay-per-view revenue, and international broadcasting rights were factored in. The man behind the gloves. His wife, Violet Chang, was born in Jamaica, and she was a former Miss Jamaica and model when she met Lennox Lewis through mutual friends in 2000. They began dating while Lewis was still fighting, and she was by his side through some of the most intense years of his career, including his fights with Asim Rahman, Mike Tyson, and Vitaly Klitschko. They married in July 15, 2005 in a private ceremony, and together they have 4 children, Leah, Ling, Landon, and Levia, who suffers from Edwards syndrome, a genetic disorder caused by an extra chromosome. Violet has remained private throughout their marriage, and she does not do interviews. She's kept their children almost entirely out of the media spotlight, and the family lives primarily in Miami Beach, Florida, in a waterfront estate that offers them privacy and access to the lifestyle they have built. Lewis himself has said that Violet helped him find balance after boxing, giving him the stability and support to transition from being a fighter to being a husband, father, and businessman. Their relationship has been scandal-free, which in the world of professional sports is almost as rare as Lewis's undefeated streak against every opponent he ever faced. The commentary booth. Since retiring, Lennox Lewis has become one of the most recognizable voices in boxing commentary, working primarily for Fox Sports and Premier Boxing Champions.
Let's now bring in former heavyweight world champion and Fox PBC commentator Lennox Lewis.
He appears in the ring at major pay-per-view events, offering analysis and insights that only a former undisputed champion can provide. Lewis's commentary work is more than just a paycheck because it keeps him connected to the sport, allows him to stay relevant in the boxing world, and gives him a platform to mentor younger fighters without having to lace up the gloves himself.
So my hands here doesn't drop back to throw. it comes right from here.
That mentorship extends beyond the broadcast booth. Lewis has publicly offered advice to fighters like Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury, sometimes praising them and sometimes criticizing them when he believes they're making career mistakes.
Saying, hey, come and fight me, or something like that. I didn't really get it, but he was making a lot of noise, and John Fury always makes a lot of noise before his son's press conference.
That willingness to speak his mind has come at a price and caused disputes, with the most famous one with Anthony Joshua, the Anthony Joshua controversy. In June 2019, Anthony Joshua lost a fight to Andy Ruiz Jr. at Madison Square Garden, getting dropped 4 times and stopped in the 7th round.
You're the big. He's ahead for me now by 2 points.
And you may do. Right hand from Ruiz. Here he comes again. And Joshua tottering and teetering.
After that fight, Lennox Lewis went on social media and criticized Joshua's preparation and training, suggesting that Joshua had not been fully ready for Ruiz and that he should consider parting ways with his longtime trainer, Rob McCracken. It was straightforward criticism from a former champion who had been through something similar and came back stronger. Lewis had lost to Oliver McCall and to Hasim Rahman, and he was overconfident, and he knew what it took to bounce back. But Joshua did not take that criticism well. During an interview with Sky Sports for a documentary special titled AJ, The Untold Truth, Joshua fired back with comments that stunned the boxing world.
Clown. I don't respect Lennox.
Creating legacy, though.
When the interviewer, Anna Woolhouse, pushed back and reminded Joshua that Lewis had built a solid legacy, Joshua doubled down, saying,
Creating legacy, though.
So am I.
That's what I was about to say. Is this all part of the legacy? Are you
It's
aware
nothing,
of how big the
nothing
legacy
compared
is?
to what Lennox is doing. Nothing. Me and Lennox aren't the same. My legacy is to sit back and enjoy the younger generation coming up and not to really be involved. Just appreciate what it takes to.
Lewis responded on social media saying, disappointed in AJ's words, but I understand that this jealousy narrative was only fabricated after I criticized them for Wilder negotiations. All of a sudden, I'm a hater. Ask who benefits from such a simple-minded narrative? Not AJ, not me. Lewis's manager, Josh Dubin, also released a statement defending Lewis and calling out Joshua's claim that Lewis did not support younger fighters, saying, if Anthony Joshua was actually paying attention to his peers in the younger generation, he would know that Lennox has been a mentor and friend to countless young fighters. And if he keeps it up, Lennox just may eat a few Snickers bars, come out of retirement, and beat AJ up to humble him. The controversy eventually died down, and Joshua went on to defeat Ruiz in a rematch 6 months later.
Joe, right? When you've got a wounded man in front of you, you see the face popping up on Ruiz. To throw something like that, get in close.
But the incident showed that Lennox Lewis was respected enough that disrespecting him publicly makes you look bad, not him. And it also showed that Lewis is not afraid to speak his mind, even when it ruffles feathers. That honesty has made him a credible voice in boxing, because people know he will tell the truth whether it is popular or not. The League of Champions. Beyond commentary and public appearances, Lennox Lewis's most meaningful work happens away from the cameras, in boxing gyms and community centers across Jamaica, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The Lennox Lewis League of Champions Foundation was co-founded by Lewis and his wife Violet, and it provides free and subsidized youth boxing camps for children ages 7 to 19, primarily in underserved communities. The foundation's mission is to inspire the next generation of champions by combining boxing training with life skills education, academic enrichment, and mentorship. The camps teach discipline and resilience, using boxing as the vehicle to deliver those lessons. Lewis is deeply involved in the camps, and he often trains with participants, mentoring them directly. The boxing program is curated and designed using the training methods that Lewis himself used throughout his career. In 2023, Lewis partnered with Chris Eubank Sr. to co-host youth boxing camps in Jamaica, bringing together 2 of the most iconic British fighters of their generation to give back to the sport that made them. Lewis has donated millions of dollars to various charities over the years, including the Muhammad Ali Center and Laureus, a global sports charity. The work is personal for Lewis because he grew up in rough neighborhoods in East London and Kitchener, Ontario. He credits boxing with giving him structure, discipline, and a path out of poverty. Now he's trying to provide that same opportunity to the next generation. The Four Kings. In September 2024, Lennox Lewis appeared in a documentary series named Four Kings, which explored the careers and rivalries of 4 leading black British boxers who dominated the sport in the late 1980s and 1990s. Frank Bruno, Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, and Lennox Lewis. The 4-part series, which premiered on Amazon Prime Video, showed the boxers and their families and their highs and lows as they went through fame, fortune, jealousy, and bitter rivalries during what many consider the golden age of British boxing.
Black athletes grabbing the headlines like this. It was insane.
A lot of people like being England.
Lewis, the documentary was an opportunity to reflect on his career and his relationship with the 3 men who had shared the spotlight with him during that era.
If I am world champion, then how can I not be crazy?
Lewis had defeated Frank Bruno in 1993 to defend his WBC title.
That was the one. Look at his legs doing a silly dance as it landed, Bruno.
Oh, he never...
And while Bruno had never won a world championship, he was beloved by British fans and had paved the way for Lewis and others to follow. The documentary was well received, earning an 8.2 rating on IMDb, and it gave viewers a rare glimpse into the private lives and struggles of four fighters who had sacrificed everything to reach the top of their sport. How he lives now. As of 2026, Lennox Lewis lives a life that shows the priorities he set for himself when he first entered the sport: financial security, family, and legacy. He's 60 years old, but he stays in shape by training regularly at a gym near his home in South Florida. Like many retired boxers who let themselves go after hanging up the gloves, Lewis has maintained his fitness and discipline. He practices scuba diving, a hobby he took up in recent years as a way to challenge himself physically while enjoying the underwater world. And he continues to play chess, a passion he has had since childhood and one that taught him strategic thinking, both in and out of the ring.
I try and keep my mind active. I play a lot of chess.
Yeah. How often do you play chess?
Every day.
Lewis has often said that chess helped him become a better boxer, teaching him to think several moves ahead, to anticipate his opponent's strategy and to stay calm under pressure. He applied those same principles to his career and his financial planning, always thinking about the endgame rather than just the immediate fight in front of him. He's also on Cameo, where fans can pay $19.99 for a personalized video message from him. This allows him to connect directly with fans, offer motivational messages, and share his insights in boxing and life. Reviews from customers show that Lewis takes the work seriously, with one of the reviews saying, "Mr. Lewis did a wonderful job in wishing my husband a happy birthday and personalization," one customer wrote, while another said, "This was just incredible and it means a lot to us that you took the time out of your day to send this message to our son. He's such a great kid, and to have someone that he looks up to interact with him in this way before one of the biggest moments of his life means the world to us." And he continues to work as a boxing commentator. His most recent appearance was in December 2024 when he provided live commentary for the Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk rematch.
I'd like to see Tyson a little bit more, aggressive and go after Usyk a bit more because, he won the first fight. So it was up to Tyson to go after him and make sure he wins the second fight.
In Saudi Arabia, alongside Becky Ives, Carl Frampton, and Steve Bunce, he has publicly advised fighters like Deontay Wilder to retire before suffering more brain damage. Even when those fighters insisted they wanted to continue, Lewis knows the price that boxing extracts from those who stay too long, and he's not afraid to tell younger fighters the truth, even if they do not want to hear it. When asked about his family life in interviews, Lewis speaks with genuine warmth and gratitude. He said that Violet helped him find balance after boxing, giving him the stability and support to transition from being a fighter to being a husband and father. He has made it clear that his family is the most important thing in his life, more important than titles, more important than money, and more important than legacy. And that legacy continues to grow. In 2024, BoxRec ranked Lewis as the 55th greatest fighter of all time, pound for pound. In 2026, NESN News ranked him as the 5th greatest heavyweight of all time. Behind only, it noted that, at his best, Lewis was unbeatable as any heavyweight in history. He's a member of the Order of Canada, commander of the Order of the British Empire, and a member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He holds both British and Canadian citizenship, and he considers himself a citizen of the world. Lewis himself is a rare figure in professional sports. He considers himself a citizen of planet Earth, splitting time between Jamaica, Miami, and Toronto, and traveling extensively around the world. Against all odds in boxing, he has managed to retain most, and he has managed to do something that almost no other boxer in history has done. He's preserved his wealth, his health, and his reputation long after stepping out of the ring. In contrast, to understand how rare Lennox Lewis's post-retirement life is, it helps to look at what happened to the other heavyweight champions of his era. Mike Tyson, who earned over $400 million during his career, filed for bankruptcy in 2003 and was forced to fight well past his prime just to pay his debts.
At his peak, he was making $35 million per fight, racking up over $400 million in career earnings. But despite all that cash, Iron Mike lost it all, going bankrupt with a shocking $23 million in debt.
He eventually rebuilt his wealth through business ventures like his cannabis company, Tyson 2.0, but not before losing nearly everything. Evander Holyfield, who earned over $230 million in his career, was forced to sell his 100-room mansion.
That year, you ended up losing your mansion.
Yeah. And continued fighting into his late 40s because he needed the money. He lost his final fights and left the sport with his legacy diminished. Riddick Bowe, who defeated Evander Holyfield to become undisputed champion in 1992, went bankrupt, served time in prison after stabbing his wife in the chest and kidnapping their children, struggling with legal and financial problems for years after retiring. Lewis avoided all of that. He made smart financial decisions, stayed out of legal trouble, and walked away at the right time. And because of that, he lives a life that is the envy of almost every fighter who came before him and after him. The king who kept his crown. Lennox Lewis was never the most popular heavyweight champion. During his career, he struggled to win the affection of British fans who saw him as too calculated and not emotional enough, while American audiences were indifferent to him, preferring the drama of fighters like Tyson and Holyfield. But in retirement, his reputation has only grown. People now appreciate the intelligence, discipline, and professionalism that made him great. They recognize that he fought the best opponents of his era and defeated every single one of them, and they respect the fact that he walked away when he was supposed to, rather than staying too long and tarnishing his legacy. And unlike so many other champions, Lewis does not need boxing anymore because he has built a life that allows him to stay connected to the sport he loves without being consumed by it. He can show up at fights as a commentator, train young boxers through his foundation, and offer advice to the next generation without ever having to put the gloves back on. And when he looks back at his career, he can say with certainty that he did everything he set out to do, and he walked away on top, just like he said he would.